assisting diving accident. That shouldn't be an issue. That's something that all divers commonly accept and hope for, but it is not like that for everyone, and it is not like that for every legislation. So we will be addressing this. First, I will be doing some presentation on the Portuguese reality, and from an operational and legislation point of view, and then I will hand the floor to Dr. Andreia Teixeira, that is going to present some statistics, as she has a 12-year experience at the Hyperbaric Medical Center of the Portuguese Armed Forces, and has that important data to show us. Okay. So this is our agenda. I will pass this, but do a slightly overview of the historic of hyperbaric medicine in Portugal, and then through these topics, and then hand the floor to Andreia. First, something about myself. So I joined the Navy divers in 2004 after coming from the ship Criolla. I then worked at the logistics of the Navy divers, back to the operational, then logistics again. Then I saw the need of medical emergency through the eyes of the Maritime Search and Rescue Center in Azores. I was there stated for 2 years. Then I was at the diving school as a technical director, was the commanding officer of 2 ships, went to the general staff, and now I'm here. And I'm here, but why am I here? And what could have happened that prevent me from being here? And I would like to highlight this moment as my own personal experience and my disclosure for this presentation, because in 2003 I was at Porto Santo. I don't know if you all know the Madeira Islands and Porto Santo, and there is a beautiful ship sunk there. It's called the Madeirense. And the Madeirense is sunk in Porto Santo at approximately 32 meters. And I was there when it sunk, when she was sunk, to be this marvelous wreck that some of us know. I was there in 2001 when she sunk. In 2000, 21st of October in 2000. And in 2003, visiting Porto Santo, I was invited to go dive there. The problem was that I didn't know how to dive. I was no diver at all. I never had dived in my life except for some fish hunting. But I had a lot of curiosity to see how the ship that I saw sunk, how it was in those beautiful Madeira waters. So they didn't ask and I didn't answer. So I went and off I went to dive. I put equipment on my back, and I did this beautiful, amazing dive at 32 meters, and it changed my life, and that's what made me want to be a diver. And this is me, wearing a BCD, buoyancy control device, something that is used to control the buoyancy, not to take us to the surface. But as I didn't know better, I managed to go to the sand line because someone told me to, and I was next to the sand line, and okay, let's put some air in the BCD. So I put some air in the BCD, and here I was, coming up without knowing how to stop. Fortunately, I managed to grab the cable and managed to ascend slowly, but not in a very graceful manner. In that day, the thing that was injured was my ego. Fortunately, that's the only thing that that was injured that day. I'm here today as a commanding officer of the Portuguese Navy divers out of dumb luck. So this is one of the examples, I will have two more, that I want to bring here. And I would like to emphasize that in 2003, there was no hyperbaric center in the Madeira Islands. Okay? So let's follow some history about the hyperbaric medicine in Portugal. In 1953, as someone said here, military was driving the innovation on diving, and we bought the first hyperbaric chamber that was in the Navy submarine squadron headquarters. And in 2067, we acquired a larger one, this one that you can see here. The pointer is not, oh, okay, it does work here. And in 2068, the first hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment started at the submarine squadron at the naval base. In 1989, the service was transferred to the Navy hospital, and it's been there until, I don't know, 5 years ago when it's changed to the 2015. In 2015, it changed to the Portuguese Armed Forces Hospital. And since then, we have the Fayal Hospital Hyperbaric Medicine Center, the Pedro Hispano in Matosinhos in 2006, in 2007, finally in Funchal. Let's remember that I was there in 2003 doing that marvelous dive. And Ponta Delgada in Azores in 2009, and in Alvor, the hospital of Alvor, that I believe that it's not operational today, in 2015. These centers provide 24-hour assistance, and that's the main operational centers that we have. Okay. So, and I had some other events in meanwhile that I will pass because I'm taking too much time. Okay, so what do we have in the Portuguese legislation? So for recreational diving, if you are diving, you must have oxygen supply for 20 minutes if you are doing a dive. Awareness, oh, sorry. And that's your obligations, awareness of the diving medical services. This is what we have to prepare if you are diving shallower than 40 meters. If you are diving deeper, Michael, there's your technical diving. Technical diving require an emergency evacuation boat. That's recreational. For the commercial diving, that's more tricky, because if you are diving shallower than 10 meters, and you are you need a hyperbaric chamber if you are diving at a range greater than 6 hours, or if you are diving deeper than 10 meters, or 20-minute decompression, you you will need a hyperbaric chamber if you are diving at more than 2 hours of the hyperbaric center, the closest hyperbaric center. And this is it. Okay, more or less, these are theoretical ranges, and you can see that if you are diving as deep as 11 meters for commercial divers, if you are diving here, let me see, no. Okay, if you are diving here, and you are diving at 11 meters, you will need a recompression chamber. That's what the law says. It doesn't mean that's what happens. Okay. For the military, they do follow a STANAG, and we do have, we need if you are diving shallower than 40 meters, we will need diving medical attendant and oxygen supply for an oxygen supply. And if we are diving below 40 meters, we will have a diving medical officer, an hyperbaric chamber on site, which is a ship with a hyperbaric chamber at a distance less than 7 minutes, and of course the oxygen supply. And because I was at the Maritime Search and Rescue Center, I went to collect some data, and I found that the Maritime Search and Rescue Centers, the Lisbon and Santa Maria, Ponta Delgada, I'm sorry, St. Michael in Ponta Delgada, we only have these records of diving accidents. 9 diving accidents in Ponta Delgada, 3 in Lisbon for the past 10 years, which is quite, I don't know. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure that this data, it's more, we have more accidents than what we have here. And it leads us to think that severe accidents with hyperbaric treatment, that need hyperbaric treatment, usually happen on late alert or followed within national emergency, and followed within national emergency system, which, by the way, happens after the Maritime Search and Rescue Centers take over. Okay, so I also have 2 diving accidents that to give examples, and this one happened in 2017 in a dam in north of Portugal, with the surface supplied, dry suit, and some work being done. And the spot was approximately 20 kilometers from one of the hyperbaric centers, and they were diving at 30 meters with a 15-minute deco and air supply. And the diver, after 7 minutes after the dive, felt paresthesia and weakness. And what I would like to highlight here is that he was evacuated by the national emergency system and sent him to Vila Nova de Gaia, which is not an hyperbaric center, because that's not on the protocol. And this is another accident, the opposite. This is an accident that happened in a deep diving exercise in 2010 in Portugal. We had this exercise in Portimão. We had several countries participating, and we were diving with semi-closed self-mixed rebreathers, with heliox, diving up to 80 meters. And we had this accident. We had 2 hyperbaric chambers on board. So with this, there was an accident with one diver. I will pass this because I'm taking too long. Because there was one diver unconscious at 75 meters, and the second diver rescued him to the surface. And they both were treated immediately in the hyperbaric chambers on board the Portuguese Navy ship. And they almost fully recovered. We don't want to have hyperbaric chambers in every site, but this is just to build a reference between not having or being late at the hyperbaric treatment and being with an hyperbaric chamber immediately helping the divers. So this is an example of the type of procedure that we have on board of the Navy ships when an accident occurs. So this is not the actual accident that happened in Algarve. This is an exercise, but that mainly is to show how the treatment on board the hyperbaric chamber is performed. And also because we have Dr. Andreia here on movie that, was conducting this exercise. Here is she performing the neurological evaluation. And we always do it with an assistant on board of the chamber and a diving medical assistant on board of the chamber and the doctor conducting the treatment outside. I think I will pass this part because you pretty sure have the idea, and I will handle the floor to Dr. Andreia Teixeira. Okay, thank you. Sorry, took too long.
Yes. Hello, my name is Andreia Teixeira. I'm a pulmonologist doctor from Portuguese Navy, and I've been working in hyperbaric area for 12 years. I don't have any emotional story how I get here today, because I only fulfill the military order when I finish my course, and the health director from Portuguese Navy sent me to hyperbaric center. I don't like to dive, but I love to work with divers, and my best professional days are when I go to the ship with our divers. So I'm going to explain very briefly how a Portuguese emergency system works. We have an integrated emergency systems, medical system since 1981. INEM is responsible for coordinating the operation of integrated emergency medical system in mainland Portugal. The system is triggered when someone dials 112, the European emergency number. Whenever the reason for the call is a health problem, they forward the call to urgent patient guidance CODU. CODU calls an emergency service. It tries to ensure that is the closest to the scene, and the victim is transported to the nearest national health service hospital with the necessary facilities. INEM in Portugal don't transport people to a particular hospital or to the military hospital, and this is a problem. We have, in order to optimize the care of most urgent patients in many emergency departments, the fast-track system was created. It started in the United States in 1990. The aim is to reduce morbidity and mortality due to delays in diagnosis and treatment, especially in clinical entities where timely diagnosis is crucial. In Portugal, we have two: coronary fast-track system. Throughout heart attack patients are conducted, and stroke fast-track system. Last year, 1,556 patients were referred through coronary fast-track system. Hyperbaric Underwater Medicine Center. Currently is a service from a military hospital. We have 2 hyperbaric chambers with 12 seats each. We treat an average of 50 patients per day, and we have an emergency team on call 24 hours a day. At that moment, because our hyperbaric center is closer, we are responsible for 2/3 of our country's support, hyperbaric support. In 2022, 2,558 medical appointments was carried on, 269 urgent medical appointments, and 424 patients were treated. 7 decompression illnesses was treated during the 22 years. So, now I'm going to talk about decompression illness. I hope everyone in that room knows a little bit about the decompression illness, because it's a complication about diving. Results from the formation of bubbles in the tissues or circulation as a result of inadequate elimination of inert gas after dive. It affects scuba divers, aviators, astronauts, compressed air works. The most common symptoms are joint and tidling. Severe decompression illness is easy to identify because the signs and symptoms are apparent. The treatment is with 100 oxygen first, and then recompression in hyperbaric chamber. Now I'm going to, I have here a data from all patients treated for decompression illnesses at our center since January 2011 to May 2022. We treat 46 patients with decompression disease illness were treated in hyperbaric chamber. If you remember, last year we have 7 decompression disease. This number is every year is more. We treat 39 men and 7 women, and the average age was 39. As you can see, the biggest cause of decompression illness is first commercial diving and then recreational diving. We had treated 1 patient with practice spear fishing. He had made several repetitive dives, and we have 1 airline pilot and 2 hyperbaric chamber accidents. That accidents occur in our center with our nurses. 15 divers had omitted decompression levels, and this only reinforced that even when everything is done according to the rules, when you can get the decompression illness, it can happen if a person dives with all limits of their dive computer or decompression tables, because decompression illness depends on a number of factors, such as diver's weight, type of work, water temperature, and among others. We have 6 divers had a history of flying after the dive. 5 divers had a previous history of decompression illness, and the depth of the diver had between 8 and 180 meters. It is possible to get decompression illness even at shallow depths. And regarding the results, in 58 of divers, the symptoms started within the first hour that arrived at surface. 65% of patients started hyperbaric oxygen therapy before 24 hours. 61% of patients had complete resolution with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Most of the divers performed a single therapeutic table. In our center, we work with Canadian tables. The most important conclusion of that draw is that the complete resolution of symptoms in patients with decompression illness after hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment is associated with oral recompression. So, conclusion. If you remember what I said, that at that moment our center supports 2/3 of our country. If you remember that severe decompression illness is easy to identify because the signs and symptoms are too obvious. If you think that the aim of fast-track system is to reduce morbidity and mortality due to the delays in diagnosis and treatment, especially in clinical entities where timely diagnosis is crucial, and the conclusion about our data that the complete resolution of symptoms in patients with decompression illness after hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment is associated with early recompression, there is an urgent need in our country. We need a decompression illness fast-track system. And in the discussion, I would like to know how the evacuated of diving accidents occur in our countries. Thank you.